in talking about, it was the first show of the year, actually is what it was, the first show of the year.
Yeah,
so the only thing we want to emphasize is we need this going into our second year to be more of a year of action. That doesn't mean that we're going to stop talking, Antoine. It doesn't mean that we're going to stop planning. It just means that some of the things that we learned last year, we're going to start to put into action. That means starting our own groups. It means starting to seek out groups. It means that we're going to take some of the things that we learned and be more active, proactive, not active.
And that also means that we're going to emphasize that expectation with our listeners. We have consistently said and consistently given a template for how to organize yourselves, how to organize your community, and how to see your community as a fixture for how organization and how power can be built. And we want everyone who's listening to the sound of our voices to know that if you have an idea, if you have something that's going on in your communities, if you have something you want to raise with us, let us know. Let us know, because what this show exists to do, it also exists to build bridges between each other. It exists to create community by making sure that we are intentional in the way that we build our links to one another. And one thing that we've consistently said, and one thing we've consistently emphasized, is this is, even though it's Real Talk with Herschel, this is our platform. And what we seek to emphasize and what we seek to elevate isn't ourselves. It is the strength of our people. It is the voice of our people. It is the power of our people. It is the presence of our people in spaces where we can interact and we can correlate and build one another intergenerationally, without respect to gender, without respect to sexuality, without respect to any of those factors. When we come to the show, we want you to know that you're amongst your people. And if you're one of your people, if you're one of our people, you're one of our people.
That's right. Very, very well said, Antoine.
Thank you.
Very well said. That is absolutely correct. One thing we have to understand before we go into our debates or discussions or our topics is that we have to, whether we like it or not, rally around our commonality. And our commonality is this: we are not free.
Woo! Woo!
We are not.
We started with that. We started with that.
Okay.
Wow.
We are not. Don't be mistaken. We are not free. Okay, that's the first thing. All right. So we can rally around that. Number two, we are at war. Okay. You got me? You feel me? So once you understand that, then the minor differences of how you pray, of who you love, of what you believe individually, all of that doesn't matter, because only free men can contemplate life. Only free men can contemplate their destiny. As long as you're in bondage, you can't contemplate anything other than figuring out how to be free. So that being said, what we are here to do is contemplate how we free ourselves. Because when you're stopped by the police, no one's checking to see if you're straight or gay. No one's checking to see if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Am I right? Nobody's checking to see if you're a Black Panther or if you're a New Republican or anything else. The only thing they see is that your behind is black.
That's right.
So that being said, that's the same thing that we have to rally around. All the other things are minute and don't matter. We can't debate the right or wrong of sexuality. We can't debate the right or wrong of spirituality. We can't debate the right or wrong of politics until we are free. Do you hear what I'm saying, Antoine? We can't debate that until we are free.
I know I was going to church today.
Don't be fooled. Your black behind is not free. If you were free, there would be no need for us to be here on this program today.
If you were free, you wouldn't be trying to vote every decade.
That's right. If we truly lived in a free place, in a democracy, we wouldn't be getting shot down the street simply because of the color of our skin.
That's right.
Our funds wouldn't be taken from us. There wouldn't be a divide and conquer mentality to keep us away from one another.
That's right.
We have to rally around the same thing that keeps us down.
That's right.
The same thing that they keep us down is the same thing that we have to rally around for our freedom. Before we can contemplate a Democrat, a Republican, a straight, a gay, an atheist, or a Christian, or Muslim, or a Jew, or anything else, before we contemplate those things in this place, we have to get our freedom. We have to get our freedom, Antoine. What you think about that, man?
And you know what? One of the things I try to emphasize is that we talk about racism very frequently in the show because it is the one thing that summarizes the structure that keeps us bound. But one thing we have to remember is that white people created race. They created race to justify exploitation. They created race to justify slavery. They created race to justify tiered citizenship and tiered humanity. And one of the reasons why we have to coalesce amongst ourselves is because regardless of whether or not you think you're a special black, regardless of whether or not you think that you've educated yourself out of this scam or you bank accounted yourself out of this scam, regardless of that fact, you are still something to the society, and it ain't human.
That's right. That's right.
That's the long and short of it. So one of the goals of the show is to make sure that we have free talk available so that people can listen to the show and can understand, those of you who are conscious can understand that no, you are not alone. But the other thing is that for people who are unconscious, so that they can know that they should not individualize their condition. You are not poor because you made a mistake. You are poor because your government wants you poor. You're poor because your government stole from you. You are poor because your government stole from your grandparents. There's one thing, we had a ASU professor on the show a couple weeks ago, and one suggestion he gave that I always stuck with, this is actually something that I've also applied myself over the years. He said that any person who's black in America, a person they should ask their elders is, how did they take your land?
When did they take
your land?
Right. Because not,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they know it was stolen.
Yeah, when did they take your land? When did they take your land? And one of the things that I'm actually going to mention the president's name. President Trump. He has spoken against things like welfare and things like government programs and people stealing government programs, just like his party has. And but he recently announced that suddenly the government's found $50 billion to give to farmers. Now, one thing that we should remember about farming and about the Department of Agriculture is that one of their main goals throughout the 20th century was to take land from black landowners. The most farmers are white because they were able to steal hundreds of thousands of acres of land from people who were in the South. And one of the reasons why black people had to move is because, and one of the things the Klan was doing is that they were going to black land and they were stealing them and running them off their property so they could take that property for themselves. Now, when we see the government willing to go all in and subsidize farmers who are often running in debt, farmers, or subsidize people who have 200, 300 acres of land to do produce, the reason why they're subsidizing them is because farming and land ownership has become white. It is understood as white. They understand the quote-unquote producers as white. So the government is willing to take care of them because they've locked us out of something that should be our right.
Yeah.
This is the reality. This is the economic reality that we're in, and the reason why we should unify together is because that's not going to change. There's no level of individual effort you can make to actually change or fix what our conditions are.